Hi everyone, I am live this morning from the garden. So this is a beautiful little quiet spot down at the bottom of the garden which opens up into a really big field at the back. So it's just so peaceful and you can probably hear the birds in the background, and it's just a beautiful morning. It's not quite as warm as we thought it was going to be. So I wanted to just start a conversation about something I have been thinking quite a bit about over the past few weeks, and I thought people may find it interesting and may be able to relate to it. So over the past few weeks, many of us, I believe, have been going through massive energy upgrades, and I have spoken about this in other videos, so this is not a completely new subject. So these energy upgrades, I believe, have been happening for a variety of reasons. If you follow, for example, just the Schumann resonance, if we just take one example. So the Schumann resonance is the heart's natural frequency, and it usually sits around, like the base level is around 7.83 hertz. And from the reports that I have been watching, the Schumann resonance has been really spiking very consistently over the past 2 weeks. And I know that the Schumann resonance has been spiking for quite a few years now. But over the past 2 weeks, it seems to have been doing it consistently on a daily basis. So I believe this is related to the solar activity. So we've been having an awful lot of solar activity. So solar flares, coronal mass ejections, all of these things affect the Schumann resonance of the Earth. Also during the month of May, we have a Palladian Portal because the sun aligns with the Pleiades, which is a very high frequency star system, and a star system I am very deeply connected to. And this happens in May and November. So when we connect with the star system, similar to when we connect with Sirius at the Lion's Gate, it brings in this high frequency energy as well. So I feel that all of this is likely to be affecting the general frequency on Earth and the Schumann resonance, and that in turn then affects our systems because we are obviously interacting with our environment and we are absorbing this light. So when we take in a lot of high frequency light, what happens is it triggers a detox response. It puts our systems into detox. And again, I've discussed this before: physical detox, emotional detox, and energetic detox. So over the past few weeks, I've been experiencing a really wide range of different symptoms. Probably the one that I noticed to start with was a lot of sweating at night time in bed. So I would wake up, drenched in sweat, and tiredness, just like lethargy, sometimes feeling very much like I have a lot of energy, and other times just being completely floored and having headaches and just feeling lightheaded and a bit spaced out at times. That's been a big one. So probably when this was starting, I remember I was thinking, oh, maybe I'm going through menopause. Maybe this is the start of the menopause, because these are symptoms of menopause, and especially the sweating that particularly made me think of the menopause. So I went off to the local health shop and I got myself some organic hormone balancing herbs and the omega-3, 6 and 9 oils and all of this, which is probably great for me to be taking. I should probably be taking it anyway. So I've been taking those, but really when I would go into meditation, my intuition was telling me no, that I'm actually going through like a cleansing process. So this reminded me of years ago, actually, when I first went through a spiritual awakening in my early 30s. Again, I thought I was going through the menopause early because I had all these symptoms. I had the sweating and the headaches and the tiredness, and I remember being a bit freaked out and thought, oh, I'm far too young to go through menopause. I don't want to go through menopause, but I wasn't going through the menopause, and I haven't gone through menopause. But these symptoms have come at different times in my life when I have been going through energy upgrades. And there's been lots of sort of external signs and symbols of that as well. You may have read my post about the crow and the symbology of the crow in terms of change and transformation. I also pulled this beautiful Kuan Yin card when I was looking for a wee bit of guidance, and it couldn't have been more appropriate because I'll read the message to you. And the title is Daughter of the Phoenix. which resonates with me because I'm Scorpio moon, and Phoenix is the sign of the associated with Scorpio. So when the soul is ready to spread its wings, it goes through a deep cleansing, a preparation for the new. Like the phoenix that is baptized through celestial fire to be born anew, you are going through such a phase of heavenly purification, preparation, and initiation. Soon after, you will enjoy greater spiritual peace, divine power, and advancement on your divine life path. So that was a really good sort of validation for what I knew was happening and what has been happening over the past few weeks. But a funny story during the week, which made it really interesting, and I thought then that this subject would resonate with the collective. I went to get my nails done. I'll not mention any names because I'm sure this person maybe doesn't want to be mentioned in my video. So I went to get my nails done during the week, and the lady who does my nails is a really lovely lady, very spiritually aware and tuned in. So she said, Fiona, I read your post about the crow, and it was just so interesting because we had a dead crow or a dying crow show up in the garden, and I wrote about this symbolism of it. And she had a similar experience. She had found a chick that had fallen out of the nest, and it was struggling, and unfortunately a few days later it did die. So she said it was so strange because, we were just going through that, and I read your post about the crow and I thought it must be connected. And I said, yeah, I've been going through massive energy upgrades lately, and I've been having a lot of physical symptoms associated with it. And she looked at me and said, what symptoms have you been having? And I explained to her about the sweating and the headaches and the tiredness and the lightheadedness. And she just kind of stared at me, and her jaw sort of dropped for a moment. And she said, I've been feeling exactly the same way. And I thought I was starting to go through the menopause. And I laughed because it was so funny. And we'd gone through exactly the same thing. She's the same age as me as well. So I thought, well, this is obviously a collective energy, even this symbolism of the crow and this change, this period of change and transformation that we're going through. And I thought many people are probably feeling this on a physical and energetic and emotional and mental level, on all levels. But I've often thought about the menopause as well. I have been thinking about this recently, and I think about the chakra system, and each of the chakras sort of goes through like there's a 7-year period associated with the activation of each of the chakras. So 0 to 7 is the root chakra, 7 to 14 is the sacral chakra, 14 to 21 is the solar plexus, and so on. So if you think then about the crown chakra, which is our connection to the higher realms, the age of resonance for that chakra is 42 to 49. And isn't that more or less the age that people start to go through the menopause? So I started thinking about menopause symptoms. And by the way, I'm not a medical expert or an expert on the menopause by any stretch of the imagination. These are just my thoughts and ideas and theories. So if you need to get medical advice, please do that. So I was thinking about the symptoms of the menopause and the symptoms of spiritual awakening. So if you look up ascension symptoms, spiritual awakening symptoms, and menopause symptoms, they're all very, very similar. So I thought about how, in our world, everything is put down to the physical because we live in this 3D world, and many people are not aware of the spiritual dimension. So all of these symptoms that people are going through with the menopause are put down to just having physical causes like the hormonal changes, and I'm sure that is true. But it got me thinking that if this is the age at which the crown chakra gets activated, it makes sense that you're going to experience these symptoms of spiritual awakening and these detox symptoms that happen when you're going through a spiritual awakening. And it can happen, I think sometimes this can get triggered obviously earlier on in life. It is natural that, as women get to this stage of their life, the stage of motherhood is sort of over, and they're moving into the stage where they're becoming wise women, and the crone energy, or the energy of the queen, comes after motherhood. And these are all archetypes associated with feminine wisdom and intuition and the opening of the higher chakras such as the third eye and the crown chakra. So it makes perfect sense to me that we would start to go through these spiritual awakening and cleanse symptoms of our systems being cleansed so that we can open up to receiving higher frequency energy and have access to spiritual wisdom. So I'm just interested to know what people's response to this is. I'm just, as I said, starting a conversation about it. It's a conversation I'd love to continue, and I'll probably spend quite a bit more time mulling it over, researching, talking to other people and finding out their experiences. But I would be really interested to know if this resonates with you, or even if you find it an interesting topic, just leave a comment below and I love to hear from you. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll be back again soon.